Hello, I would like to introduce to you today the Harmony manual breast pump from Medela, which comes with the Calmer feeding device. Just to tell you a little bit about Medela, Medela are a research-based breast pump manufacturer, and we invest heavily in breastfeeding research, and that's an ongoing commitment. We are also the #1 choice of hospitals in the UK. So you might notice some yellow breast pumps on the maternity wards and neonatal units around the country. Just to let you know that that technology that's in those pumps in the hospitals is also in our retail pumps. So it's giving you confidence that you are buying a pump which the hospitals would choose. The Harmony is our manual pump, and it still works on our two-phase expression. And what two-phase means is that we have found in research that babies suck at 2 different speeds. When baby first latches on the breast, they do a rapid suck to stimulate the letdown of the milk. And then once the milk's flowing, they slow down to a slightly deeper, slower suck to feed and take that milk on as quick as possible. So we have developed our breast pumps to mimic that. So I'll show you how it works. Mums need to just make sure they position themselves as centrally as possible here in the breast shield, because we need to make sure that we don't have any rubbing on the breast shield here. And then with the Harmony, we have 2 sides to the handle, and we start on the shorter, smaller side. And that's where we first do the rapid sucks to stimulate that letdown reflex. So I'll show you how to do that. So if we roughly judge those pulls of the handle and those sucks at about 2 per second, and that would be mimicking what a baby would be doing at the breast. And then once milk starts to flow here in the breast shield, mum's had her letdown, so she can move her hand to the larger part of the handle and do a slower, deeper suck to express that breast milk into the bottle. And that's how we would express. And what mums would need to do is to carry on until the milk slows and looks like it's almost stopped. You'll get the occasional drip still, but we want to see that looks like it's almost stopped. Give her another minute or so and then stop. And then we'll be confident that mum has drained the breast effectively, because that's what we need to make sure that we do. So I'll show you how the Harmony comes apart. We have a base just to make it steady on the worktop once we've got that breast milk in there. So we'll pop that down. The handle just pulls off, and we don't need to submerge the handle in water, because obviously that's not coming into contact with the breast milk. So we can just wipe this over and pop it to one side. Everything else here does need to be washed thoroughly in hot soapy water and sterilised in your normal way as you would at home. So we unscrew the bottle, pop that down. The breast shield just pulls off. And what you've got here is a yellow valve with a white membrane. You just pull the yellow valve off the main part of the breast pump, and then carefully just pull off the white membrane. And what we need to make sure is that we remove all traces of breast milk from all the holes here in the yellow valve and clean thoroughly the white membrane. And then to put them back together, you just push the half moon connector into the half moon hole, and you just push until you feel it connect, and then you'll see it won't pull out. So that's the valve back together. Once everything's cleaned and sterilised, I'll show you how it goes back together. So you push the yellow valve onto the main part of the breast pump. We push in the breast shield. You screw the bottle over the yellow valve, like that, and connect the handle. Now, if you ever found that when you come to use the breast pump, it doesn't seem to be sucking correctly, there are a couple of things just to check. Check that your handle is pushed on and that this rubber O-ring is pushed firmly onto the handle, because that would affect the vacuum. So check that, and also check your white membrane that we've looked at previously. Check to make sure it lies flat onto the yellow valve and it's not damaged at all. If that white membrane is damaged or not connected properly, it will affect the vacuum of the pump. So just check those two things, and then you do have a replacement one of those in the packaging. Just push the handle back on, and then it fits firmly onto the stand so it's nice and steady on the worktop once it's filled with that precious breast milk. So that's the Harmony pump. Now I'd like to tell you about the Calma feeding device. It looks very different to any other sort of bottle and teat you might see on the market. It's taken us many years to develop with extensive research. And we have proven in our research that this is a safe and effective device for mums to feed their express breast milk to the baby when they're not with them. And mums can be confident that once they're back with baby, baby will go straight back to the breast and have no confusion or rejection. The way we've been able to do that is that Calma, if I just take the protective cover off and connect it to the bottle to show you it as a complete feeding device. There we go. There we go. If I was to take some liquid in Calma and tip it upside down, it wouldn't drip. And as you know, comparing that to a regular teat, that's very different, because a regular teat would just drip, 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 even slow flow. So that drip, drip is very different to how a baby would feed at the breast. When babies are breastfeeding, they really have to work to remove the milk. It's not an easy reward. So that's very different to a standard teat, because they get the drip drip into their mouth without actually having to suck. That's why Calma is different, because their baby has to suck in the same way as they would when they're breastfeeding. So for the baby, it's very similar. They don't have any confusion and they're not having to learn something new. We've also proven that when this is in the baby's mouth, it reaches a very similar point to as the nipple would when the baby is breastfeeding. So again, it's very similar for the baby. They're not having to learn a new behaviour. Calma, although it looks very different to a standard teat, it is very easy to clean and put back together. So you just screw off the bottle. If we pop the unit down like that, and you can see the white ring at the bottom, if you just push down and then pull the silicone off, what you can do then is just invert the silicone, hold it underneath and pull it off the section with the bumps. What you'll notice on the end of the silicone, it has quite a large hole, and that again is very different to a standard teat. What this is designed to be a good length and width to mimic how the nipple would be in the baby's mouth. It is not representative of the flow that the baby would be getting. The flow of the milk is actually regulated through a very, very tiny hole in the centre of this part of Calma. So the baby leads the flow. That's why, again, it's very similar to breastfeeding. So once they're thoroughly washed in hot soapy water and sterilised in the normal manner, they can be put together very easily. And because we've inverted the silicone, we can just hold underneath, pinch like that, and push it down onto the section here with the bumps. And then you just flip the silicone down so it's underneath the ridge. We take this part, and you'll notice there are 3 prongs and 3 holes. So we just pop those straight into there. And then the teeth to connect it to the bottle are on the inside. So the bottle just screws straight on and everything is connected. And that's Calma. It comes with a protective top to protect the teat at the top, the silicone. And it also comes with a protective cover for underneath the feeding device. And you would also get a protective cover for your bottle. So pop the breast milk in there with a lid on, and then that's all protected as well to keep it nice and clean. and then once you're ready to feed baby, you can remove those and connect it to the bottle for feeding. So that's the Calma feeding device and the Harmony manual breast pump from Medela.